What is up, dads and dad bods? It's your boy 1 out of 1 here. So I've got a new instructional video for you guys for taking care of your babies. We're going to talk about cleaning bottles. Now, I've got a couple of different bottles here for you guys to see. And first thing I want to tell you guys about is, like, you need to be really, really careful when it comes to baby stuff. I mean, one of the things to understand is that babies don't have their own immune system yet. They're not developed for that yet. They're growing into having their own immune system, but especially early on, your baby's only immune system is going to be mama if they're breastfeeding. And if they're not breastfeeding, your baby really has no immune system. So you need to be able to clean and take care of things so that your baby is healthy and not getting sick all the time. And one of the ways you do that is sterilizing bottles. So I've got a couple of different bottles I'm going to use over here. These are bottles that need to be washed anyways. So first here, this is not paid sponsorship. If they want to be, I mean, I'm happy to do that paid sponsorship, but Tommy Tippy, talk to me. So this is a Tommy Tippy bottle. This is the one that we use the most often. And we use it for a specific reason. We'll get back to this in a minute. And then this one right here, this is a more normal baby bottle. And I'll show you what the difference is. So for a more normal baby bottle, here's a general rule when it comes to cleaning bottles. Anything that comes off needs to be cleaned. And part of our issue is we didn't get ourselves very familiarized with these bottles early on, and so we would be like a month in, a new part would come off, and it's like, oh, we probably should have been cleaning that separate. Yes, we should have been cleaning that separate. So we've got this top lid right here that covers up the cap of the bottle. That's going to need to be washed. We've got, of course, the little bottle nipple. Nipple. All right. Now, these bottles, some bottles are more simple than this. I believe this is a Dr. Brown's bottle, as I'm dumping milk everywhere. And of course, Dr. Brown's, and not an official sponsorship, but Dr. Brown's call me and have you do it, paid sponsorship. All right. But the Dr. Brown's bottles, like I said, everything that can come apart needs to be cleaned, which means you need to get familiar with your bottles, which means test things. So this is what, like, the Dr. Brown bottle looks like. It's got the whole cylinder comes off, and then on this bottom piece right here, that comes out too. So right here for this Dr. Brown's bottle, and this is why it's important to familiarize yourselves with your bottles, this bottle has 5 pieces that all need to be cleaned. The Tommy Tippy bottle, all right, now here's why the Tommy Tippy bottles are so different, but why they're so useful. So first, we've got the bottle cap. You've got this that twists off. You've got bottle nipple, bottle lid, and then here's the fun part. You ready? You got the actual bottle itself, and then, ooh, looky what this is. All right, now I don't know the actual name for this. You can look it up if you want to. I don't know the name for it. But what this does is this is supposed to help make your baby get less air bubbles as they drink, okay? As you can see right there, it's the centerpiece right here. Look at this. You see how this one's one color, this is another color, and then this is kind of a clear type of silicone thing? Guess what? They all come off. Boop. Come right out. Boop. Pops off like that. Look at that. So we got 3 parts here. 4, 5, 6, and where'd it go? Where did it go? Where did I put it? There it is. 7. Okay? 7 parts of the bottles, and all of them need to be cleaned. Okay? So there will probably be some people that disagree with this, but I'm going to show you why it's not quite as big a deal, or why I don't think it's as big a deal. We're using this this spray wash right here. It comes in the bottle, and you know, you spray it, everything. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of rinse off everything just to make it easier to clean in a minute. You want to make sure that you get as much of the residue off as possible. But even then, it's going to go through a couple of different processes. So clean it. Maybe don't freak out. Just clean it. Here's what we're going to do, okay? Got your scrub brush. I have a scrub brush that is dedicated to baby stuff. This is not made for mom and dad's cleaning stuff. This is made for baby stuff. So what I like to do is I like to spray this itself and then just get scrubbing. Okay? Alright, so like I said, you want to make sure you get as much of it cleaned off as possible. Clean the outside and the inside. I'm going to turn that off for a moment. There we go. Alright, so one of the things you guys will need to think about a little bit, and this could be another video in and of itself, but some of you dads might be using more bottles if your baby is formula fed. For us, we're trying to breastfeed as much as possible. We have not yet had to supplement with formula, and we might be able to skirt by without it, but we're prepared with some formula just in case. But for those of you who are formula feeding, this is going to be a regular part of your life, is cleaning these bottles. Now, something to keep in mind, a dirty bottle left out in the room is going to sour after 40 minutes. If you're using breast milk, 40 minutes, it's gone sour. A way that you can lengthen that is to put the empty bottle in the fridge. I've done this before. Actually, let me see if I've got one in here right now. I don't have one that I'm using specifically for that. So I get my soapy hands all over the door. But we've got a bottle right there of breast milk ready to go. But yeah, that'll help to lengthen out the time. It will keep the milk from souring. And then you can just reuse that bottle, reduce the number of bottles you use. I mean, we used to, at one point in time, I would, like, if she was going to be out of town or busy for, like, most of the day, and I was the one who was primarily taking care of the baby, I would have, like, all of the bottles pre-made, somewhere between 3 to 5 bottles prepared. And that, as you can imagine, made things a little difficult for us. Because I would be up until probably midnight cleaning bottles. That was tough. That was really tough. And because you can imagine with the exhaustion of, especially early on, before the baby is sleep trained, having to stay up even later working on baby stuff, that's exhausting. That is completely and utterly exhausting. So what we started doing then is use the bottle, put the cap back on the bottle, put the bottle in the fridge, and next feeding, just take the breast milk out of the fridge, pour it into the bottle again. That helped to make things a lot easier. And guess what? Baby's fine. And so at that point, it's not souring. It's not going long enough that it's filled with bacteria. You do want to wash the bottles, I would say, maybe like probably like the next day or something. But to help reduce the number of bottles that you're having to clean, man, that's going to be very helpful. You can go from using like 5 bottles in a day to using 1 or 2. Think of how much time that's going to save you if you're having to do that every night. All right, so I'm almost done cleaning stuff here. Now, one thing to keep in mind with these bottle nipples is they are going to need to be cleaned inside the actual nipple piece itself. So let's see. Let's make sure I'm either fully cleaned here or almost fully cleaned. Okay. So I'll go ahead and show you this, and then you guys can fast forward like a minute or two if you want to, because I'll just kind of be talking after this. Let's see. There we go. Almost done. And there should be just one piece left. Haha. There we go. Okay, very good. Now, one thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to make sure that these bottle nipples are cleaned really well. I'm going to turn on just warm water. Doesn't have to be warm water, and I'll show you why in a minute, because you got to sterilize it. But to help make sure it's fully clean, take your bottle nipple, put some water in it, take your thumb, and you push it through. I don't know how well you can see it, but I'm pretty much just shooting water through the nipple. This is sudsy water still, so that is helping to get it clean. Rinse it off again. Do some more squirting. There you go. And that's going to make sure that is completely clean through any area that the baby would use. There we go. All right, so make sure everything is rinsed off. Now for pieces like this right here, obviously you're going to want something either like this, or you can get like those generic pipe cleaners from like Walmart or the Hobby Lobby, something like that. That's what they're built for. They're built to clean things like this. There we go. And what was really, I would say powerful for me, also this piece like right here, I'm going to do the same thing that I'm doing with the bottle nipples. It's not as big, but just beep, squirt a little bit of water out. Beep, a little bit of water. Beep. Oh, you guys could actually see that one. One thing that was really powerful for me is like early on when Mom was on maternity leave and she was here breastfeeding him all of the time, it kind of felt like I didn't have a lot of a place in the home. And that's something that's really difficult for a lot of dads because our role is different. Of course, now it's time for the gender role people to be screaming, "Ah, gender roles are fake. I ain't got boobs. Okay? Look at it. I don't got boobs. That's a literal, physical, biological gender role thing that I cannot fulfill. I can stick this baby onto the boob all day long. Ain't nothing coming out." So that is actually something that we have to think about. Because the mom is the provider for the baby. And I think that's part of why traditional gender roles, this is just an opinion piece. You can skip this if you want, but I think that's why traditional gender roles actually work, is because the mom is the provider for the baby, so that dad, can't remember if I actually cleaned this, so I did, but okay. I remember now that I did it. So dad can be the provider for mom, so that mom can be the provider for baby. Now, right now, my wife is working, so we're kind of flip-flopped at the moment, but at the time, a couple of months ago, when she was at the home mostly breastfeeding him, it was difficult because I was like, I mean, what is my place here? And, you know, infants are difficult for dads because there's not too much we can do with them. As they get older and they can play more and you can teach them and wrestle with them and stuff and help, teach them practical skills, it gets easier. But for the most part, babies are really difficult for dads because they're very helpless and there's not too much we can do for them. We can help mama all day long, but babies, there's a major component that if, there was no civilization, there was no baby formula, we can't really do anything about. They're completely dependent upon mom, and so that kind of made me feel like I wasn't exactly necessary. All of that changed the first time that I fed him through a bottle. The first time I fed him through the bottle, and I was a part of that experience, and granted, it is different, because she's going to have that physical connection to him, where the baby is physically on her breast, and that's going to create a different sensation. But when I was actually taking part in the keeping him alive, that enhanced my connection to him instantly. And I believe it will for you as well, because chances are in today's culture, you're going to use a bottle at some point. There are very few people that do not use a bottle. And very few people, I don't know. I would say there's very few people that don't at least try a formula at some point in time. Because you can either do formula breastfeed or breastfeeding supplemented by formula. We thought we were going to have to do that. It doesn't look like we're going to have to now. Here we go. All right, last part to rinse. But that's gonna be something that will really help you in feeling connected to the baby, because it is difficult, and it's okay for it to be difficult. Like I've said before, all of it's difficult. You're a new dad. Things are going to be tough. You're learning to do something that you have never done before, and it's okay for that to be difficult. Think of the first time that you rode a bike. Think of the first time that you got a job. Think of the first time that you woke up at 7 a.m. to go to school. New things are tough, and it's okay for new things to be tough. Now, time for the sterilizing. We've got the cleaning, and now we'll do the sterilizing. Call me Dr. Brown's. Not a paid sponsorship. Call me Dr. Brown. Okay, so here's our sterilizer, okay? Comes in a couple pieces. You've got the base piece that actually does the heating. You've got the top lid. You've got the rack that goes on top, and then the main piece right here, where obviously we're going to put the bottles. Now, this goes for pump parts as well. You can throw breastfeeding pumps stuff in here as well. So, what I'm going to do first, before I do anything else, take this off. And I've got a cup right here. Now, I don't think that you guys are going to be able to see it, but inside the lip right here, there is a line for max fill. It's not all the way to the top of this thing. You kind of have to look for it a little bit, but once you see it, it's like, oh, there it is. You just pour water in here up to that max fill line. There you go. And then after that, I'm going to put this on top. And now we load the bottles, okay? So those go over those little holes right there so that the steam is going to go up and clean it. It's supposed to cause enough heat and enough steam to kill any bacteria that may be on the pump parts. So we're going to put all those in. I'm going to put most of the pieces in here like this. Okay, and then after that, got all those pieces in here. We're going to put this top rack on. And this is for your more small stuff. So like for example, this piece right here can easily stand up right there. And your bottle nipples. And look at what I'm doing here. I want you to pay attention to this. I don't have these upside down because this is going to collect water. Flipping it over like this, I just showed you all that and didn't actually show you. So upside down like this, collecting water. Same thing with like a bottle nipple. That's just going to collect water. So you flip it upside down like that so it can come up into it and then drip down. Okay, same thing there. And notice I've got, this one isn't as big a deal because it does have a hole all the way through it. But I like to have it facing upright like this, if at all possible. There's a taller one. Let me see. There should be a piece over here somewhere. Yeah, okay. So in here. All right, so there's a taller one that's made for the taller bottles. For these ones, I actually put those down in here because, and I put them facing up like that so that the steam goes up into it because it's, you know, a smaller hole for the steam to get through. So I just say, hey, it's better to put it like this. Whichever way you do it is fine. It's going to get clean. I just don't like the water cleanup afterwards. So that's what I do. And put the last few pieces in. Very good. So we got everything all stacked up nice and neat. Take the lid, put the lid on, and we're going to power it up. There we go. And now you just let that do its work, okay? Now, of course, they'll all come with instruction manuals for you to learn things on. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn this off for a minute because, and I'm going to show you something else now. When you're using a heat source like this, or even for my stuff, for making coffee, heating up water like that is going to create a mineral buildup, a calcification, if you will. So what that means is that eventually the pieces are not going to work as well. Now I'll sterilize these for real after this, but I'm going to take it all out for right now because I do need to decalcify this thing because it's been a minute since that's been done. And we're just gonna start completely over here. So I'm gonna dump that out. There we go. All right. Now, one of the things that you're gonna need that's gonna be very helpful for this is a descaler, okay? Now, the descaler is basically going to break down those mineral buildups and it will make your stuff last longer. So anything that requires heating up water, you're gonna want a bottle of this stuff, or 2 bottles. We got 2 bottles here. And then once you notice that the minerals are starting to build up, you use this to do it. And they should all have instructions right here. So like instructions here on the back. All right, the first one is ensure the water reservoir, and is, you know, it's made for coffee stuff too, but ensure the water reservoir and coffee pot or grinding slot are completely empty. Okay, we're completely empty here. Pour half of a bottle or 4 ounces into the empty reservoir and add water to completely fill the reservoir. Now, our reservoir here is not very big. It's not like a full coffee reservoir. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna fill it up to this lip right here. There we go. All right. And then the rest of it is going to be filled with water. So let's take this. Now open this up. Let me get rid of this right here. Pull the rest of this off. Okay. Lovely smell. Lovely smell. Something else to keep in mind, like you might want to light a candle because the stuff stinks. All right, so we're going to use that. We're going to fill that up to that line that I was telling you about. Very nice, very nice. Pop that lid on. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands, and you are going to want to wash your hands before handling any baby stuff. You do not want to get this on baby stuff. So, that's empty. There we go. There we go. Okay. And guys, this is something else that you can do to stay involved in the process and to help mom. Because it's very difficult, especially for like single moms, if you're like if you guys are not together, if you and mama are not together, this can be very difficult. And it can be very difficult for you as the dad to feel involved because mom's the sustainer of the baby. Mom kind of has to be the sustainer of the baby, especially if she's breastfeeding. So you kind of don't have a choice in this, but this is a good way for you to be able to be involved. And you could just come over like once every day or 2 days and just say, hey, I want to stay involved. I want to help out. I want my kid to know who I am and to feel like I'm a part of their lives. So I'll come over and I'll clean bottles and help you out a little bit. That's a great, and that is a great way to build some rapport with mom if you don't have any, okay? That'll help. Okay, so right away, I don't know how well you can see it at this point, but we're already kind of seeing like some bubbles and some stuff. We haven't even turned the thing on yet. That's how effective this stuff really is and why you don't want to get it on anything baby related. All right, so and we're going to take this, we're going to fill it up to that max fill line. There we go. All right, and we're going to pop the pieces back on because even like this stuff in here, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but even like the base a little bit, there's, you can see that little like white line right there. It gets this mineral buildup as well. So we're going to want to get rid of that as much as possible. So we're going to pop all these pieces on. I'm going to pull that away from the counter a little bit. Very good. And we're going to set it. I'm going to set it to heat without drying because I don't want this stuff to be dried onto the material. I don't want it to be stuck on there. So I'm just going to put it on the heat cycle, and then when it's done, everything on the inside is still going to be wet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pieces off, and take them to the sink, and rinse all of that decalcified stuff off. Then you're going to want to run After all the pieces are rinsed off, and you kind of like wipe it all down a little bit, you're going to want to run it again with just water, no pump parts or bottle parts in it. Because like I said, you want to get this stuff as far away from your baby as possible. Now, it's going to be helpful in the long term, but you want to make sure to be as safe as you can be. And that's an easy way to stay safe, keep your baby well. You just run it through once with the decalcifier or the descaler, and then you'll run it again with just water. And if you want to be really safe, you can run it again. But if you're rinsing it off right after it runs that first time, it should only need the one more steam, and then everything will be fine. Then rinse it again, and then boom, back to putting bottles in. So that's an easy way for you to clean bottles, and a couple of helpful tips along the way as well. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any other questions, drop them down in the comments. If there's anything you want me to cover, let me know. I'll see if I can cover it. And yeah, stay positive, dads. You're doing a good thing.